Most children are afraid of the basement. The darkness below. The unknown beneath their feet. I was afraid of what was above me. Our attic was not like other attics. It was spacious, unervingly so. You never had to crouch. You never had to squeeze through. It simply stretched out before you, vast and patient. And broken up by beams of uneven thickness, scattered without pattern. No matter where you stood, you could not see from one end to the other. It was a maze. A dark, silent maze. And every single time I went up there, I felt certain someone was hiding behind one of those beams. Watching. The first sign came on an ordinary morning. I woke up and looked down at my feet. They were gray. Grimy. A fine layer of grit pressed between my toes. I had not gone outside. I had not left my room. I had simply gone to sleep. Then a box appeared in my room. A small cardboard box filled with old photographs my parents kept stored in the attic. I had no memory of bringing it down. Days later, a brass lamp materialized on my desk. Ugly. Heavy. Unmistakably from the attic. That's when the pieces fell together. I wasn't just sleepwalking. I was being drawn somewhere. Every night, in the deep black of unconscious sleep, my body was climbing up into that attic. Moving through the maze of beams and uneven flooring, in complete darkness, without waking up. Without a single memory of doing it. Each night became a battle. I would lie in bed for hours, fighting sleep, terrified of what I might do once my eyes closed. And each morning I would check my feet. Clean feet meant a safe night. Dirty feet meant I had gone back. The worst night was the night I woke up already there. Not in my bed. Not lying down. Standing. Upright. In the attic. In absolute, impenetrable darkness. I could not see the beams. I could not see the boxes. I could not see the hatch that led back down to safety. There was nothing, just black. And me. Standing somewhere in the middle of
it, not knowing which direction I was facing. I stood frozen for what felt like an eternity. And then, I felt it. The feeling that I was not alone. Something else was there. Further back. Deeper in the dark. Then I heard it. A soft thud. A weight shifting on the floorboards. Once. Then again. Then a third time, from a different spot. Like whatever it was had moved. I began to cry. Silently, face wet. And moved through the darkness inch by inch until my hands found the hatch. I climbed down and ran to my parents' room. My father went up with a flashlight. He came back in under 2 minutes. So there was nothing up there. The sleepwalking stopped after that. I am grateful for that, at least. But I know what I heard. I know something was there with me in the dark. And I believe to this day that it was the reason my body kept going back. Not sleepwalking. Something else. Something was calling me up there. And I was answering. The house had been in my family for generations. My father grew up there. His parents before him. No one ever asked what came before them. The attic existed only for Christmas. We went up once a year to retrieve the decorations, and once more to put them away. That was it. That was the arrangement. Until the year my father decided I was old enough to do it myself. He gave me instructions I immediately forgot. I spent 20 minutes rummaging through boxes, making a mess. I eventually found the decorations, but in doing so, I disturbed something that had not been meant to be found. Tucked behind the things I'd moved, in one of the back corners, sat a black box. Not a flimsy cardboard box. Something sturdier. Older. Something that looked like it had been placed there with intention. Inside were papers. Dozens of them. Notebooks. Loose pages. Hand-drawn maps. Even a few pages of what looked like sheet music. Every single one of them completely covered, in handwriting. I began to read. The early entries were ordinary. Weather. Chores. Passing thoughts. But the handwriting grew more erratic as I continued. The thoughts more fractured. And then the subject changed, entirely and completely, to the attic. Whoever had written these pages had become obsessed with measuring the attic. over and over, comparing the dimensions to the footprint of the house below. And according to their calculations, the numbers did not add up. There was space that could not be accounted for, several feet of it, along one specific wall. The entries that followed described that wall in exhaustive detail. Every crack, every indent, every mark. The writer began spending hours in the attic, then sleeping up there. The documented sounds coming from behind the wall. Scratching, breathing, timestamps, 2:14 a.m., scratching for approximately 3 minutes. 3:47 a.m., breathing, rhythmic. The final pages were not words at all, just tally marks, row after row after row, counting something, and then nothing. The entries simply stopped. I put the papers down and looked toward the wall. The marks were there, exactly as described. The cracks, the indentations, all of it. My father came up and tore the wall down. And behind it was a space, several feet deep, running the full length of the wall. A room that should not have existed, with no entrance, no way in, no way out. Every surface of that hidden space was covered in markings. Black lines, symbols, shapes that resembled nothing we recognized. Not writing, something else entirely. We stood there for a long time, looking at a room that could not exist, marked by someone who could not have gotten inside it. Later, my father realized that the chaotic, obsessive nature of those writings didn't match the neatness of the box they were stored in. The person who wrote them would not have organized their own papers so carefully. Someone else had done it. Someone had found the writings, gathered them, and hidden them away. My grandfather, he had found them, he had read them, and he had chosen to say nothing. There are things in those pages that could only be known after the wall was sealed. But the wall had been sealed. There was no way into that space. I will take this mystery with me to my grave. I have smoked for 23 years. I refuse to smoke inside, so I walk. Late at night, through the big backyard of the house my parents left me. A 3-story colonial, nearly an acre if you count the wooded part. Just me in the dark and whatever moves in the trees. The house is old. Every step announces itself. Every board sings. You cannot move through those rooms in silence. It is simply not possible. There is an attic window. Small. Original to the house. Overlooking the backyard. I have looked up at that window hundreds of times over the years without ever thinking about it. Until 3 weeks ago, I glanced up mid-cigarette and saw something move behind the glass. I told myself it was a reflection, a cloud. Abba. I went back inside and forgot about it. The next night, it happened again. This time I was certain. Something was in my attic. I stood at the bottom of the stairs and listened. Nothing. The house was completely silent, which, given how that house sounds, felt deeply wrong. I turned on my phone flashlight and pulled down the attic ladder. The attic had been destroyed. Not ransacked. Not messy. Destroyed. Every box overturned. Every surface, every wall, every ceiling smeared with something black. Thick. Almost chunky. It was still wet. It was dripping. I tore through every room in the house. Found no one. Cleared every closet, every corner. Nothing. Then I stood in my bedroom, trying to breathe, and heard it, 2 heavy thumps, then the slow drag of something across the floor. Directly above me. They had never left. I grabbed a kitchen knife and went back up screaming. Not from courage, but from terror, so complete it had become something else. I ripped through the attic. No one was there. But something new was. Scratch marks. Deep gouges in the beams and floorboards, layered over the wet black paint. Long, deliberate, like something had been clawing. I called the police. They found nothing. No gaps. No exits. No way anyone could have gotten out without being heard on those ancient, screaming floorboards. It has been 3 weeks. No further incidents. I have not gone back up there. The paint is still on the walls. The scratches are still in the wood. I don't know what was in my attic. I know what I refuse to believe it was. And I know I'm not ready to consider the alternative. 3 people. 3 attics. 3 things that were not supposed to be there. Some places hold on to things. Long after whatever put them there is gone. Long after anyone is left to remember why. The attic above your head right now has been empty for years. Probably.